And now, podcasting from the sun-scorched desert Southwest, weighing in at a combined total of 340 pounds, Brad Winchester, Tyler McDowell Blanken, are Gimmick Infringement.
Welcome, everybody, to the Gimmick Infringement Podcast. I am Brad Winchester, and with me is my tag team partner, Tyler McDowell Blanken. Tyler, it is Sunday, March 13th, as we record this. How are you doing this weekend?
Brad, all is well over here, man. Doing very, very great. I am so excited for this episode. We are recording at a much earlier time than our last episode of Gimmick Infringement. You and I have chatted frequently, as we do every day, just about wrestling and non-wrestling items, but we were reflecting on that Revolution post-show. And although we hope our listeners and viewers enjoyed it, man, you were up late, I was up late, and it's nice to speak with you while the sun is still out. This feels like a return to some normalcy for us.
Yeah, I was looking at numbers for that show, looking at how we did last week, and I was like, oh man, not a lot of people are downloading this. And then it all happened this weekend. So I'm looking at that as a sign to not destroy my whole life for a week in terms of sleep and just record it the following day. Yeah, wow. Ooh, didn't like that. That being said, I'm glad we did it. I'm glad the reactions were fresh, even though the last half an hour I was yawning through the whole thing. It was good to get that out of the way. It was good to do.
No,
I like having the instant reaction. Otherwise, I have time to think about it. It's not as emotional, because I actually like the show a lot better than I did right after I watched the show. And I don't know how else to describe that.
Right. Well, and that's what's tricky about Sunday pay-per-views, because I think we've been spoiled with WWE having a few Saturday options and AEW formerly having Saturday papes.
Yeah.
Now it's back to the old. Like, I know Double or Nothing's going to be on a Sunday, so for us at GI, Sundays from 3 to 5, 3 to 6 is our time slot, but we know if AEW starts at 5, that causes a schedule issue. So yeah, I felt great about it, man. Hopefully those who listened and those who watched enjoyed it, and I'm so looking forward to discussing the latest week in wrestling with you here today. It's another episode of Gimmick Infringement, often imitated but never duplicated. We're here. We're ready. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm ready to dive in. I kind of want to get right into it because I want to save time for the what did we miss from this week, only because there's so many things to cover that happened in the WWE or around the WWE. And man, yeah, it's been a week. So let's jump in. Tyler, what's your first question for me?
Yeah, Brad, this was one of the tougher weeks for me to come up with 3 questions. Like you said,
likewise.
It was so newsworthy. Mm-hmm. On so many levels, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But I want to start with the end of Dynamite, in which we saw Scorpio Sky become the new TNT champion. I am expecting we maybe get a purple and gold belt sometime in the near future. As we know, he's a California guy. He's a Lakers fan, unfortunately, as they play the Suns tonight on national TV. Shout out to our colleagues of 19 Media Group. I think their team is going down tonight. At least one can hope. But that being said, my question for you, Brad, Scorpio won the belt. I want to know first what you thought about the match and how it all went down. We saw Paige Van Zant, Dan Lambert, Ty Conti come out. There was a lot happening in this match. Sammy doing a 630 onto the table. So 2-part question. First, I want to know what you thought of the layout of the match and really the execution. Secondly, as excited as I think you and I are about Scorpio becoming champion and becoming the first black male singles champion in AEW history, how are you feeling about him entering this title defense on Dynamite this upcoming week against Wardlow? Wardlow had a huge Revolution weekend. You and I think, are becoming marks for this guy more and more by the day. So how are you feeling? How did you feel, about the match with Sammy? And then B, if you had the pencil, so to speak, would you book Scorpio to retain, defeating Wardlow this week?
I thought this match was really overbooked. There was so much stuff happening. Like, it didn't need to be that way. I love the psychology of it. I loved Sammy with his injury, selling his injury. And it made sense for the match. I thought it was really good. That bump, through the table, he hit that thing like the table wasn't even there. I mean, he hit that table and just it disintegrated underneath his weight. Sickening thud.
And luckily he's such a professional. Just imagine if you are off on your landing by an inch or two. That could have been
death.
Devastating. Yes,
absolute.
He
death.
did this just for our entertainment, and I think that paints the really profound story of Sammy is too much of a risk taker.
Yes,
he doesn't need to do all of these impressive stunts.
Just he does this thing.
He does the thing. Yeah,
does the crazy thing with his finger by his head.
Exactly,
and then sticks his tongue out and then kills himself every single time he does it.
Yes.
I didn't need Ty Conti out there. I know why they did it. They acknowledged the relationship for the first time on screen. Cool. They set it up for Paige Van Zant. Cool. I don't know that needed to happen during the match. There was just too much distraction stuff, and all it did to me was make Scorpio look less than. It made Sammy look really, really strong, and Scorpio needed all of this outside interference to win.
I was wondering if you felt that way, if it in any way diminished his victory. Or maybe not. Maybe diminished isn't the right word, but you
I don't know.
Thought about it.
So yes, but here's the thing: like all the stuff that happened, it didn't affect what he did in the match. So it didn't really affect the match. It didn't really affect the outcome, except for that one distraction at the end, which I did not like. But I thought everything else was like Scorpio did all of that. It was all of him the whole time. But there was so much distraction stuff going on. It felt like he didn't do it on his own. And at the end, there was the distraction finish, which I didn't love. However, I love that he won. I think it's great. I already forgot the second part of your question. What was the second part of your question? Oh, the title defense.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just now heading into this week, you and I. So Scorpio's been built really over the last year, right? We know he's been undefeated in singles competition, but in that same year, Wardlow,
and he lost the last match he lost. I think was for the TNT title,
right, against Darby,
when he won the Face of the Revolution.
And then in that same year, Wardlow. I don't know about you, Brad. I thought about this as I was driving home from the grocery store today. You and I, let's go back to a year ago. You and I were fans of Wardlow. It's okay. This dude is really strong, and he's just a powerhouse, right? Not to steal Powerhouse Hobbs' gimmick, but this guy has potential and might be something. Fast forward a year later, and he is a budding babyface, real Batista-like feel, and
great comp.
I guess trying to sneak in two questions here. I just want to hear your thoughts on the development of Wardlow after this really impressive babyface moment for him on Dynamite. How are you feeling about Wardlow? But then how would you book Scorpio v Wardlow this week? Do we get some max interference? Can Scorpio afford to lose? Are you okay with him potentially being a transitional champ? I want all of your thoughts on all of the things involving these two.
Okay, first of all, I apologize for the delay. Jessica Winchester of Small Town USA left her charger in the office, and I had to unlock the door. How am I booking this thing?
Yeah.
What do I expect from it? I expect Wardlow to come out there and kill Scorpio, and I expect Max to distract finish or just cause a DQ. Max probably knows he can't take Wardlow, so he's going to go out there and punch Scorpio and cost Wardlow the match. That's what I think. Then Wardlow uses, and now Wardlow's still under the employ of Max, because the only way that he could possibly get out of the MJF contract is by winning the TNT title. So if he loses via distraction, he is still under contract to Max. So I absolutely feel like Max or somebody from the Pinnacle, maybe even Spears under the order of Max. So I could see Spears coming out and hitting Scorpio with a chair, staring at Wardlow, and then Max is at the end of the ramp. And then he says something like, "I own you, you belong to me, blah, blah, blah." And that'll start the feud there.
Do you... Okay, so Wardlow...
Scorpio retains via DQ. Wardlow should win. He won't win.
I was going to say, no way Wardlow takes a pin in a loss.
No way.
Even via distraction.
No, they'd have to murder him. I think like 25 chair shots from Spears, plus a couple of punches with the rings. They've built him too strong, so I think they have to go after Scorpio. And that'll be okay. If they hit Scorpio with a chair, that will probably start a feud with American Top Team and the Pinnacle, which I think would be great. I think a heel two heel stables feuding against each other, where like the baby faces just come out and watch,
right?
And like, good, we'll let them beat themselves up. We
Sure.
don't care.
Sure.
I think that would be awesome. I don't know where it goes from there, but I would like to see that some combinations in there. You see Scorpio and Ethan Page saying, "I want retribution." So they fight. I don't know. They fight Spears and Dax or something.
Anytime I think
put
of
them in
the word retribution, I think of Mustafa Ali.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I just had a moment.
I think of T-Bar.
Oh gosh, Maze
and Mace.
Slapjack.
Slapjack.
I mean, I don't even remember what Mia Yim's name was. It wasn't Karma.
I thought wasn't she Mace, or was that
no
Mercedes?
No. Mace is I think Mace was Dio Madden, T-Bar's
Really?
tag partner. I'm pretty sure Mace was the dude.
I thought that was Slapjack. Isn't that? Wait, was Slapjack?
This is totally my bad. I got us off on a complete tangent. I knew I shouldn't have dropped this on you. Slapjack was Shane Thorne. I know that for sure. Smaller guy. And Mason.
Okay,
T-Bar
that's why I couldn't. Yeah. I couldn't remember who it was. I couldn't remember who Dijak was. It was T-Bar.
T-Bar. Terrible.
So it was Reckoning.
Reckoning. Thank you.
There we go.
But your idea, Brad, is much better than anything Retribution, even though those people are so talented.
Yes.
Yeah, man, sign me up for a heel versus heel faction. I agree with you that Wardlow should not take the pin. I don't think Wardlow should win this match, but he shouldn't get pinned. I am really excited for a Scorpio TNT run. I think this is really his time to shine. I do not think he should be a transitional champion here.
I agree completely. I hope they book him like they've been booking Page with his title, because he can wrestle. Dude can go. Somebody said he doesn't have any charisma, and it's like, what have you been watching?
Has that person been following the product?
Absolutely not. I mean, you put him next to Ethan Page, and I understand, and Dan Lambert.
Sure,
and
his charisma is different than those two guys.
It's different.
Yeah,
it's more subdued, but it's not like he's not charismatic. He's just not loud.
Right, and
it's just not loud.
You and I are big fans of the snap gimmick at the end of the promo.
And then the lights go, oh my god!
I thought I was the only one who sees that every week and is like,
I look forward to that cool. Every single time. It's like, how has nobody done that? Like that's
all the years of wrestling.
It's so good.
Yeah,
I love it so much, and it's just like he's got very long fingers, and I don't know why. I see that it's like his huge. He's got a huge hand, like he goes like this, and it's like. Yeah. It's perfect because you see it coming.
You're great at noticing these intricacies. Yeah, I mean, I know really, I snuck a lot.
Sometimes I miss the point, and I see the fine details, and I miss the point.
Sure, I snuck a lot into that first question, man. So I don't want to overstay my welcome, but
no, it's good. Wait till my second one.
Okay, nice. I wanted your thoughts on Scorpio, and I just wanted to acknowledge how I just think how much the Wardlow character has grown in a year. Like. I'm totally a mark for this dude. When you got when you got up for Jess, I was just mentioning how a year ago I think you and I said, "Oh, this guy's really strong, and that's cool." But now he's a face of that company. I think so. I appreciate your thoughts on that, man. That was a lot for me to throw at you right off the bat, but you and I, to no surprise, are very like-minded on that one.
Perfect. Okay, my question for you.
I'm ready.
This is the first one. This one I realize is very similar to another question that I have, but I'll try to differentiate it as much as I can. This week, I'm sure you have a question related to this as well. We get Thunder Rosa versus Britt Baker in a steel cage. It is the anniversary match, essentially, of their Lights Out match. It's the same show. It's about a year apart. We know it's going to be brutal. We know it's going to be violent. I think it will be good, but I don't have a lot of hope here. If it's like the Lights Out match, it'll rule. If it's like their last match, it'll be boring. So this is my question here. I'm trying not to just shout down all of this because I love both of these ladies, but it's just not been good. Are you looking forward to the match more than this build actually deserves? It's a hard question,
right? Yes, I'm learning the value in processing my thoughts before I start just pontificating. More than it deserves. I'm gonna say no, Brad. If more than it deserves is based on, say, the last 2 to 3 weeks, possibly. But as you so astutely brought up, if we consider that this is really a year of booking, exactly 1 year since their pun intended, revolutionary Lights Out match, I don't think we're giving it too much credit. You pointed out how both these women are so talented, and this feud has really been one of not only the signature women's feuds in AEW, but I would say just one of the signature feuds in AEW history. Period. I am possibly a bit more hopeful than you about this Wednesday. I know the last few times we've seen them in the ring, they've been letdowns, and not just you and I, Brad, not just us on Gimmick Infringement, but I think universally in the IWC, they've been letdowns. I have hope though that they're going to right the ship this Wednesday. It's a steel cage, so we know it's going to be violent, like their banger last year. And this is going to sound really simplistic, but both of these women are too talented to let this one be a dud. I really believe that. I have a lot of stock in this Wednesday's main event. I think it's going to rule, and I think it's going to roll, man. It's been a year. The last few ones have been stinkers, but I think they're going to reward us for our patience and our unwavering support of them. How are you feeling, though? I know you and I have not been as amped for this rivalry in recent weeks.
Well, I think that's the problem. It's only been recent weeks.
Yeah.
So we consider the build since last year, but it hasn't been since last year. Thunder Rosa wasn't even on the roster at this point last year. She was still with the NWA. So she was on loan until, I want to say, like April, May, when she finally signed.
Long time, yeah.
Yeah. And then nothing with Britt. Nothing. December 30th, which wasn't that long ago, was when Mercedes Martinez interfered in a match in the TBS tournament. So you could say this build started December 30th, and now it's March 13th, but we already had their actual title match already took place at Revolution, which was kind of a snoozer. It wasn't a bad match by any stretch, but it wasn't great. And I think all of this is so unfair because Ty Conti, Jade Cargill, we kind of knew what we were going to get with that match, so our expectations weren't super high. And then we watch it and we're like, wow, it was really good for what we knew we were going to get. With Britt and Thunder, we're like, this is going to be one of the best women's matches of all time. And it wasn't even the best match of the night. It wasn't arguably even the best women's match of the two of the night. And I think we have unreasonable expectations for them because of what happened last year. So no matter what they do, it's not going to live up to what last year was. That match changed the landscape of women's wrestling in AEW. It raised the bar for what a match could be in AEW. It's just different. It's so different than what we've seen. So we see something like that and we go, oh, this is going to be the best for all time. They'll always have 5-star classic after 5-star classic. They haven't. We have Thunder Rosa in a tag match calling spots in the ring, people missing kicks, people missing punches, people looking lost, people stutter stepping and running in place, waiting for somebody to get up. It's all been like just bleh. And I wasn't expecting that. And I don't know whose fault that is. I don't know if that's just because I don't know if it's anybody's fault. I really don't know. But it looked like a house show that got filmed and it wasn't supposed to. And that's just kind of how it looked. And after reading from Fightful that the match changed, the outcome of the match changed a lot leading up to it.
Right. Made sense, right?
So maybe that's what was going on. Maybe it was just the match had to get called in the ring as it was going. In which case it looked great.
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know how to feel about it. I would say this match absolutely does not deserve the hype based on the build. This match deserves the hype based on something that happened 1 year ago. And that's it. Because that's all. Even when they just had a match. And Britt lost and then talked about last year's match instead of this year's match.
Right.
Why? Because that match sucked. So it's so but I also get it. I also don't want to disparage. I'm struggling here, man. Like, because I'm shitting all over them and their work and their match, and I don't want to do that because I love both of them. But also, those matches were good. I don't know what else to say without being negative here. So I'm just gonna clam up.
Sure. Well, your points are valid, Brad. And as I said, I think you and I have our friends that we speak with about this stuff, and it seems like everyone's in agreement that it's not been what we thought it was going to be. It's not what we were promised. We thought it was going to be a program to remember for years and years to come. In the matches, like you said, we're going to be match of the year candidates way too early match of the year candidates. But your points are all valid, man. I really have hope though that we know Thunder Rosa is going to win this Wednesday. If not, we and the good people of San Antonio will riot. I think her getting the 1, 2, 3, no interference, no shenanigans, her hoisting up that belt and her home city crowd.
Home city. Yeah.
Home city rooting for her in San Antonio. I think it's going to be one of those moments we look back on as, man, this was a seminal moment in AEW history. And to think of, Jade being the TBS Women's Champion, a black woman, and then Thunder Rosa being a Mexican woman. I know you and I agree about how cool the victory is going to be, but like you said, man, the rivalry overall has not. I thought it was going to be a legendary rivalry, and it just hasn't lived up to that. So I think, like you said, it's just, in summary, it's a mix of the in-ring work hasn't been awesome, but also I think we've been enjoying Jade's reign a lot more. And you can have more than one women's program on a card. We've been asking Tony Khan for that for the better part of a year. But I think the ascension of Jade Cargill perhaps does play a role in this, in that I think she's just been hitting all the right notes. And we've been applauding that and thinking about that. Whereas this feud, Britt's reign, has been lacking some of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with you. It's not to say that I'm not stoked for this match. It's
I know you are.
Match,
and I know you'll be geeking out at the end of the show.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll be retweeting content from the AEW account once Rosa wins. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't want. I'm very critical of the WWE, and it's not because of the talent. Although we are going to talk about people getting dumped on their heads. And being renamed stupid names again. Now that being said, AEW also deserves its fair share of criticism, and I love it. I love watching the product right now. I'm always gonna love the WWE, even if I hate what they're doing sometimes in the moment on the weekly product. Because last week we also got one of the best tag team matches on free TV I've ever seen. It was amazing. I don't know if you got to catch it, but that match ruled.
Oh, I did. Yes.
Oh, so good.
Yeah. Yeah, the whole Dynamite card really snuck up on me. My God, was it loaded?
But no, I'm talking about the Raw.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Okay, the three-way. Yeah. I'm sorry. Totally wrong. I did not see that.
Great match. Go out of your way to find it.
Alpha Academy, RK Bro, Owens, and Rollins. Okay, I'm with you now.
And the RK Bro, the finish of that RKO.
It was awesome. You sent me that.
Oh my God, that was amazing. Yeah, it was so good. Yeah,
I just
really
love
enjoyed
Chad
that
Gable
match.
so much. I just hope him and Otis have a spot somewhere on the main WrestleMania card.
They'll get it back. That was to, I don't know. It's make sure that Owens didn't get on the card, so he had a reason to call out Stone Cold. That made sense. A lot of it made sense. I'm actually really looking forward to WrestleMania now, more and more, for like 2 or maybe 3 reasons, and then the rest of it's probably going to be contained in a box-like structure for me. But that takes us to our next moment on the card. One of my favorite things of the week to do, and that is our weekly hot takes. It's time now for Hot Take Tie.
It's time for Hot Take Time. Spicy.
Yeah, Brad. I got a good one for you this week, man.
All right.
This is not wrestling related whatsoever. I think both of us actually were watching the college basketball championships, conference championships over the weekend, specifically the men's games. And our beloved U of A Wildcat men's basketball team played last night. They beat UCLA. Brad, that felt like a total heavyweight fight.
Yeah, it was great.
Two quality teams.
Great game.
Yeah, numerous lead changes.
Yeah.
It was awesome. And of course, the good guys ended up winning. Go Cats, bear down. We are very excited here in Arizona. But I'll put my joy to the side. I want to share from my hot take today, man. I had this moment yesterday of a realization that for me, I think I like college basketball more than the NBA in terms of the overall experience. I've been in love with the NBA since I can remember, since my YMCA days as a youngin'. But I don't know if it's the like going to college and then following the school after I've graduated, or the fact that U of A surprisingly is super great this year. I'm not sure what it is for me, but the joys I get watching U of A, dare I say, supersede my love for the Suns. Or even say the Phoenix Mercury. As much as I love those squads, there's something about college hoops. Yeah. And now knowing with the NIL, student athletes can get compensated for their talents and for their name, image, and likeness. I can feel a little bit better about watching the product. College hoops, greater than sign the NBA for me.
I don't know that that's a hot take. I'm with you.
Really?
I would rather watch.
I think in our 19 media.
Oh yeah,
that might be a hot take.
Probably, yeah.
But not amongst the general populace. How do you feel?
I don't know. It's. I hear that a lot of times with college football. Usually not college basketball, but I love college basketball. For me, it's a lot more enjoyable to watch. I think it's because the you have halves, not quarters. So you have way more gameplay. But it's frenetic. It always feels urgent. Every game matters. And in the NBA, until you hit close to playoffs, anything after the All-Star break starts mattering a little bit more. But once playoffs hit, then it's like, now it matters. And
it's best of 7.
It's best of 7.
It's a whole thing. Yeah.
I've never really been, until we hit the finals or even like the conference finals, I'm good. But with college, it's like, if you lose, you're done. You have one game. Every game is the Super Bowl. Every game is the finals. Every game. And I love the urgency in that. I just love it so much. So like even building to that, to get your seed, to all of it, it's all so good. And you end up with like a lot more, I feel like maybe this is just, maybe my blinders are on here, but you end up with a lot more last second shots, a lot more, at least last second shots that matter at the end, where it's cool. The Blazers hit a 3 at the end to defeat the Pistons. Who gives a shit? Like it doesn't matter. It's if.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
Yeah. Like
I love that matchup. That's very specific.
Yeah.
The Portland Trailblazers versus your Detroit Pistons.
Notice I had them losing.
I think the only way you're watching that is probably on League Pass. I don't think they're showing that on ESPN.
No, it's probably
certainly not on TNT Thursday.
I feel like it's
Chuck in the game.
Fox Sports Detroit also has it blacked out because nobody wants to see that.
I don't know, man. I think your Detroit Pistons. This is an aside, but I think your Detroit Pistons have something. If they can secure,
yes,
a top 2, top 3 pick, they're building something.
Yes, I agree completely.
They're not terrible.
No, they're not. But they haven't been for the last couple of years. They've been like. Yeah. Losing games by a little bit and
Blake Griffin.
Getting just below. Oh, don't do that to me.
He's kind of disappeared from the face of the earth.
Yeah, I don't know what happened to that dude. Yeah, last year he was.
But your Pistons are not bad.
Last year he was dunking again, and now I don't know what happened to him.
Yeah, I don't know. I take that back. The Pistons are bad. They're just not. They're not terrible. There is a.
They're bad, but they're the Lions.
There's a path.
They are They are the Lions when they were losing all their games by 3 points. I think it was 2 years ago. They lost like 5 games, all by a field goal in the last couple of minutes. 2 of them as time expired. They're that team. They can't win, but they're not losing by a lot all the time.
And they're also young, right?
Yeah.
Primarily. And
that being said,
they don't know what they don't know.
I know full well that they lost like 140 to 100 the other night. So,
did they really?
Yeah. So I'm just gonna keep my mouth shut, I guess.
Yeah.
They're not any kind of
that.
good, but they're close to being not bad. They're close to they're a piece or two away from being an 8 seed. I'll put it that way.
Exactly. Yeah. To making the play in.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you agree so vehemently with me about college hoops. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just
I love it.
around a circle that typically prefers NBA.
Well,
that's interesting.
I
I wonder what our listeners and viewers think.
How do you feel about football?
I feel the same way about football
Yeah.
as well. College, watching the Wildcats, greater than sign the Cardinals. As much as I love the Cardinals,
I enjoy watching, like, if I get to watch the Wolverines play, I enjoy watching them. I actually really like watching Wildcat football because I'm not that invested, and I know that if they win, it's always a big win. All wins in college football are big wins, every win. So it's the same deal in
right.
If I'm a Packer fan, so I've enjoyed a lot of success over the years, not Super Bowls necessarily, but lots of success, lots of division championships, and getting to see my team win a lot is. People always say, "Well, isn't that disappointing?" It's like, no, my wife is a Lions fan. That's disappointing. Like that.
Love the shout outs to Jess today. Well deserved. Putting her over.
I think Barry Sanders retired in like 2001, and he's still one of the highest selling jerseys for that team. Yeah. I mean, that's just sad.
Love Barry, number 20.
Amazing, incredible. Also, they suck. So it's just
who are the other contenders?
Who was his quarterback?
Stafford,
Who was Barry
Johnson.
Sanders' quarterback? Rodney Peete? Like, what else do you have?
Love Rodney Peete. Yeah.
Joey Harrington was going to be the savior of that team. Good God.
Number 3.
It's just, yeah. So, wow, I did
great.
not anticipate talking hoops and football today.
There you go.
On the Gimmick Infringement
I got to
podcast.
surprise you once in a while with this segment.
All right. On that note, go ahead and hit me with question 2. As I say, we're trying to get a shorter show so we can get to more content. We're going 3 hours today.
Yes, that's right. Absolutely. So question 2, I was actually going to ask you about Thunder Rosa and her hopefully impending coronation this week, but we already covered that. So question 2 for you, I'm going to cut right to the chase. Who becomes, or let me rephrase, who holds gold in AEW first? Swerve Strickland or Jeff Hardy?
Well, the Hardys are going to win the tag team belts at some point.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be a long run, but I think they'll win them so that they can say that they've won in that company too and be one of the all-time I have more belts brands. I really think that that's what will happen. And that'll be a way to honor them as they end their careers here pretty soon, I'm sure. I don't know if it'll happen before Swerve. First of all, which title do you think Swerve will hit first? I think it's TNT. That's a great question. So the next, my third question will be about the belts. So I'm going to save my thoughts for that for later. But that's a great question. I think it's going to end up being the Hardys first. Only because they have a shorter run in them, I think. Sure. So
do you see that happening in this calendar year? Because you and I have been really pining for Proud and Powerful.
No, unless they're the transition between Proud and Powerful and Jurassic Express. I could see that happening. There's so many teams that want to see Jurassic or the Hardys wrestle. And I know everybody that's in a tag team there wants to wrestle them. So
of course.
But I also want to see Jeff have a singles run there. So I love that they've been able to do that, though. Jungle Boy has had a singles run within Jurassic Express. And you know what's going to happen again as soon as they drop the belts. And I'm here for it. I can see Jungle Boy winning the TNT title. I can see Jungle Boy winning the world title at some point. I see Swerve winning the world title before Jungle Boy. But I don't think either of those dudes are winning any of those titles before then. So I'm going to go ahead and say, man, I don't know if I see any of the Haas talent taking the TNT title. I can see Swerve winning the TNT title. I'm going to make a bold prediction here. Both of them within the calendar year, both of them at the same pay-per-view. Which one? I don't know.
Wow. That's very bold.
Yeah.
My follow-up question for you my two-part questions are the trend today. I just got to give you at least 60 to 90 seconds to share your thoughts on the debuts of both of these cats. So Swerve had his debut match on Rampage, defeating Tony Nese. And then Jeff Hardy. Brad, when I tell you, I popped huge. Not just for the fact that Jeff Hardy showed up, but
the dance?
The dance.
Yeah, his brother's being murdered.
His brother is completely getting the boots laid to him. I think Andrade maybe even had a chair.
Yeah.
Like, Matt Hardy is just being wrecked.
And he stopped.
But Jeff has the time to do his signature dance. I got to give you at least 60 to 90 to hear your thoughts on the debuts of both of these guys.
I thought Swerve and Nese knocked it out of the park. Swerve had a couple of those kicks. I was like, Jesus. He's gonna.
Yes. Thank you.
Tony's going to have a boot print on his face.
Thank you. So great.
But yes, even though I thought Swerve looked incredible, I know I shared my thoughts with you. I thought this was really a Tony Nese coming out party because I don't think anybody expected Tony to win. It's Swerve's debut. If they had Swerve lose in his debut after hyping him up, I mean, just no. But I know they've wrestled before and it was awesome. This was a great match. I think it got to showcase a lot of Swerve's moveset. He did. I don't know how you felt about it, but pace-wise, he looked a little rusty. It was a little slow, where maybe Tony was just too fast because he was up and ready so quickly when Tony was like getting up from a move or whatever. This match really found its footing kind of in the second half of the match, and it was awesome. I thought it was a great debut for Swerve. He looked incredible. I want to see more Tony now, though. And the Jeff Hardy debut, yes, like you, huge pop. And then I started laughing because it's like, the thing is, he didn't stop to dance. He was running while doing his little thrusts with his hands in the air, running to the ring, still thrusting. And I was just like, just get there. Your brother's going to die. Darby and Stinger getting killed. Your brother's about to die from a chair shot. And you're out there like just dancing.
That was awesome. I kind of didn't like it at first, but then when I thought about it and I saw the internet reaction to it, I was like, no, this had to happen. This was perfect.
Yeah, you needed to have it happen. But I love that they secured the rights to the song, and I love, dude, that Swanton. Nobody should ever be allowed to do one ever again when he retires.
Did you see the Nyla Rose tweet?
Yes.
Of
retired.
My Swanton is retired. Yeah.
Yeah. Now a standing one, fine, but. Sure. Off the ropes, nobody's will ever be prettier.
His Swanton on Wednesday looked snug.
Yes, it did.
Blade took all of that.
Yes,
Jeff Hardy isn't the biggest dude ever.
Yeah,
but that's still
nobody's
like,
a big. He's
gotta hurt.
He's not a huge guy in the WWE, right. But he's huge everywhere else. Like you saw him in the ring and how big he is.
Yeah,
like it's kind of like Shawn Michaels looking small, and then you see Shawn Michaels and you're like, oh, he's over 6 feet.
Right.
And he's 250 or 225 or whatever he was. And it's like, he's not a little guy.
I think even Chris Jericho as well.
Yeah.
He's been pegged as a small guy for most
a
of his
heavyweight
career. But then you realize like, no, he's a pretty
big dude,
stout dude. Yeah.
He's just not 6'6", 6'7".
Right.
Yeah. So absolutely wild. I loved all of it. I thought Dynamite I thought it was a great show. I thought all of it was great, but I especially loved the debuts. I know some people don't like Jeff Hardy coming out. I know some people don't want to see him, either of the Hardys. I don't care, man. Like, inject that nostalgia right into my veins. We watched a 61, 62-year-old Sting jump off a balcony through 3 tables. Most of it with his head. So, I'm fine with seeing a last run for the Hardy Boys. If this is it for them, give it to me. I'm good with all of it.
Right. A potential. I mean, even seeing Jeff and this last thing I'll say because I know we want to stick to our time goal. Seeing Jeff and Sting in the ring was pretty huge after the infamous Victory Road. I forget what year, maybe 2011, 2012 incident.
Yes, I was thinking about that.
And then, right. Yeah. I think both guys probably being in a better place than they were now, particularly Jeff Hardy.
Sure.
But then also fantasizing about the potential Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin match, which I don't think there's any way we don't get that.
No way, it's happening.
Like you mentioned, Jeff as a potential having a singles run. There's just so many dream matches now for Jeff, for the Hardy Boys versus insert tag team. it's an exciting time to be an AEW fan.
love-
And Swerve as well, right?
I think
it's exciting.
I think this is going to be really good for Matt Hardy in particular.
Yes,
because
yes.
this HFO gimmick has not been it. Big money Matt Hardy. I liked it at first, and then it just wore out its welcome. Like they couldn't figure out what else to do with him or something. But it helped building everybody else up. And I love that Private Party are now like this huge heel tag team.
I was gonna say, I think this does wonders for Private
Exactly.
Party. Wonders for them.
And
They've
now
just
we get to see them versus the Hardys, and that's going to be their first feud.
Yes, I think you could argue they've been kind of dormant
Yeah.
for the last 2 years in AEW. Of course, they've had some consistent camera time because they've been on the side of Matt Hardy, but this is their time to be that heel team. And Brad, I tell you, man, that first year of AEW, they were real blue chip prospects.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, these guys are probably going to hold gold sooner than later, and they've just kind of feels like they've been pushed to the back burner because you've been signing talent, other people have shined, and I think this is going to get them back to the forefront where they should be.
I don't remember what pay-per-view was my first one. It was in 2020, and it was at Daly's Place, I think. But it was the first pay-per-view that I ever purchased ever, and
It's a big deal.
It was Private Party was on the buy-in. That was the first time that I had ever seen them, and they were wrestling like outside, but not in Daly's. They were like outside of Daly's doing something. I swear it was really, really bright outside. Like they were in a parking lot or something. I'm gonna have to go back and watch, or maybe it was just very bright in Daly's. I don't remember, but I vividly remember seeing them in very much sun. There was a lot of sun.
Sure. Yeah. I take your word.
Yeah, and thinking, wow, these guys are really good. Can't believe they're not on the show; they're on the buy-in. So after seeing them, but it's been like I said, with looking forward to Jungle Boy doing singles stuff again. Marquand had a match. Cassidy has matches all the time. They rarely have matches together outside of trios matches. So, or tornado tags or whatever else it is. So I'm looking forward to seeing them as a tag team again. Maybe with Andrade coming out there to get in the way. That being said, Andrade needs gold. I know that's a different conversation. So, I'm sure we'll get back to that. But
yeah, I bet on it.
But if for the sake of time, as we create accidentally our longest show in history, it's time for a rose with, from, and for Tyler. Apparently, a rose from Tyler.
And now, for a rose from GI's most eligible bachelor.
That is the name, and we have a lot here, Brad. I try to keep this gimmick to 5 minutes or less, so here I go. We are approaching, headed toward the final week for Clayton's season of The Bachelor. It's going to be a 2-part gimmick. It's going to be Monday, tomorrow as we record, and Tuesday night. And here's the latest, man. It was a dramatic week last week. You thought Dynamite was wild. The Bachelor was on a whole nother level. So there were 3 women last week still vying for Clayton's heart. There was Susie, the wedding videographer, my old job, from Virginia. There is Rachel, the aspiring pilot from Florida. And then Gabby, who is I believe an ICU nurse. Shout out to her, from Denver. Brad, I don't know if you watch this, but Susie self-eliminated. So last week was the Fantasy Suites episode. Do you remember Fantasy Suites at all?
No. Also, I didn't watch it. I haven't had to because people tag you and me in Bachelor stuff now.
My plan is coming true. Yes, we love to see it. So, quick summary. Fantasy Suites are near the end of the season. Usually the final 3 contestants, as we are here. And in this case, Clayton goes on individual dates with each of them. And then by the time they get to the dinner evening portion, he has a key to a room, to a fantasy suite. And he has to get the person's consent. They do this on The Bachelorette as well, vice versa. He presents the key and says, he reads a little note card that says, if you two accept this key, you are spending the night together. implication, they're definitely having sex. So Susie was last on this episode. So Rachel, I believe, was first. Gabby was second. Fantasy Suites happened. The way it was shot, we were led to believe they slept together. So Clayton did with Rachel, and then later Clayton did with Gabby. But by the time they got to Susie, it turns out that Susie was not comfortable accepting the fantasy suite. And through their conversation, Clayton divulged that he had been intimate with Rachel and Gabby. Susie was not happy with that. Clayton was not happy with Susie having these sort of expectations for him. So Susie self-eliminated, bro. She is gone. It was a major meltdown. I encourage you, Brad. I encourage all of our listeners and viewers to seek this clip out. It was pretty epic. We were promised drama on this episode, and it certainly delivered. Susie appears to be gone. So heading into this week, there are 2 women left, and we don't know if Clayton gets down on one knee and proposes. The way it's shot, the preview, we're led to believe there's a chance that both of these women turn him down, and he is just leaving the show single. Drama is promised. I will tell you, my prediction is that I don't think Clayton proposes. I think he leaves the show just sad and single. I think he had some missteps over the last few weeks. I can't wait to watch. I hope you enjoyed this update, everyone, and Brad in particular. And it's a big week for Clayton, bro. Monday, Tuesday is all about The Bachelor. Forget about Monday Night Raw. And then Wednesday, we can focus on wrestling. But your week must start with The Bachelor. This is it. This is the finale. And Godspeed to Clayton.
Thank you for the update. I really appreciate it. I'm glad you're so hyped for it. Maybe
I'm so stoked, man. I'm so stoked.
We are going to come back to something that you said. Maybe not today, but wedding videographer.
Yes, yeah. My old job, total joke. I hope it hit. Never been a wedding videographer in my life. Have you?
It did not. I heard my old job and I believed it. I can absolutely see you doing it. It would explain.
Are you serious? My dad actually dabbled in it as a hobby. If that counts.
I was like, it would explain so much about why you love this stuff. If you were simply a wedding videographer, you're like, oh, that makes more sense. You're just around it a lot, and it's like, no.
My old job.
Yeah.
No, Pops was. He ran a little side deal. And,
awesome.
And was really great at it. So maybe that counts. Actually, maybe my joke wasn't totally fictitious. By proxy, maybe that does explain my love for this very silly series.
Tuesday for me is out. It's about treasure hunting. Tuesday is the night.
They're gonna say NXT 2.0.
Oh, well, Curse of Oak Island though. Yeah, no Nazis on that show, so I really enjoy that a lot more. There is FDR. They found a boot recently from when FDR's excavation was taking place from the 1920s. That was about 80 or 90 feet under the ground. Absolutely wild what's going on in this show. I love it. I love it. I don't care if they find a pebble every week and they're like, wow, a different kind of pebble. I don't give a shit. I love this stuff. So I totally understand your passion for The Bachelor. Well, I don't, but you. I understand.
Not many do.
I understand passion about something that a lot of other people might not. I take great joy in painstaking archaeological shows. So I totally understand it if it's not.
You get me. Yeah.
Everybody's jam, I guess. But all right. Question 2. Okay. This is going to take a while.
I'm ready.
Chavo Guerrero Jr. I don't know if you saw his comments. This
is, I saw you liked the tweet. Okay. The algorithm showed me.
There's a couple of them. So there's 2. You probably saw the one that I had to look it up, but there was the one I just saw before when I was looking up this quote. I saw the rest of it, and it was through the Wrestling Inc. Daily, and he was pissed that Tony Khan wasn't answering his phone calls, wasn't answering his texts, because he left to go do wrestling. He was like the wrestling supervisor for the Rock's show, Young Rock, and getting paid a lot of money. And that's why he left. And Tony was very happy with the work he did in AEW. So he was confused. Chavo said like he was texting him and calling him and he never called him back. Tony said that he saw a text message or something and he hadn't gotten back because he's like, I don't know if Chavo doesn't know I'm busy during the week, is essentially what he said, but that he has a good relationship with him, that he's going to contact him after that. But he like really likes Chavo and wants him on there. But Chavo was pissed that Tony is ignoring him in some way, which I think might be perceived, but who knows what the truth is there.
Sure.
The comments, though, I want to focus on are these are the quotes. The WWE, the producers, the agents really get involved in all their matches. In AEW, they kind of let you do your own thing. So it's almost like we need a happy medium, you know? In WWE, they micromanage you there at times. And then in AEW, they didn't do enough, I felt. They really need to help a lot of the young guys just to put things in the right spots. These guys are such talented wrestlers and such talented athletes, but sometimes it's a spot fest. You've seen it. It's just doing spots and spots. Just do a spot. Just to do a spot, excuse me. You know, just because you can do a backflip doesn't mean you should do a backflip. I think that they need help in that. So it got me thinking. I hear this criticism a lot. And I'm going to add something here. Spot fests. They do a lot of these. What is the Royal Rumble? It's a spot fest. It's all it is. A lot of those, any TLC match ever, it's a spot fest. Any gimmick match, it's a spot fest. It's not like the WWE doesn't do this all the time. That being said, he's got a point. A lot of it is about what crazy thing. Sammy, lots of spots. They made it part of the storyline, though, so it made sense in that match. It's why I appreciate FTR's wrestling so much, because it's not a spot fest. It's fists, not flips. So should AEW, this is my question, should AEW, given Chavo's comments and others, consider a creative team or at least some sort of protocol for setting up matches?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. I've heard that criticism as well about AEW having too many spot fest matches. And I think early on in the company, I sort of wanted to defend them so much and just completely disagree. But it has occurred to me in recent shows and especially recent pay-per-views that I think there is a valid criticism to that. As much as I love the Jurassic Express and Young Bucks as teams, I think their matches typically for me tend to have a lot of spots, and I can kind of watch, like for example the tag match at Revolution. Although I thoroughly enjoyed it, I think that was a match where there were a lot of spots. Yeah. And so I kind of watch it thinking, okay, this is what someone points to who critiques AEW by saying too many spots, not enough story, even though that match did have good story elements, so on and so forth. So yeah, man, I agree, and I think Chavo's comments were pretty spot on as well. I didn't kind of view that as, oh, this disgruntled guy is just, crapping on the product. Right. I think they would benefit from that addition, Brad. Absolutely. They're, as much as I admire the athleticism and I just, I enjoy spots as much as the next person, I do think AEW has shown a bit of a trend in that. But to your point, they're not alone in that. WWE, you said the Royal Rumble, you said TLC. I think you have to have a healthy balance, but perhaps at times AEW's balance has been a little bit off. Because I think Chavo's comments, you may have said this, Chavo's comments were we need to also focus on stories. Yeah. Right? And the build of stories, not just, hey, have a 20-minute barn burner. There has to be a story element there to get me to care. I do think there's validity to that. What do you think, though? Do you agree with his comments and kind of see that as a need for improvement, I guess, if you will, from AEW, or do you think it's pretty similar to WWE?
I do think that. So here's the thing: it's more than just spot fests. I think, particularly in tag matches or Dante Martin. Some wrestlers are all spots all the time. Like, I can't say Dante's a good technical wrestler. I don't think I've ever seen him do it.
Right. Fun match against Hangman, by the way.
Great match against Hangman. Yeah. So that's the thing. Of some wrestlers that works. But it's kind of like when Cody wrestled, I think it was Orange Cassidy or Darby. I don't remember who. Somebody wrestled one of them and they said, I'm going to make them lock up. And I think it was Orange Cassidy against somebody. I don't remember who he wrestled.
Oh, okay.
But it was...
it's not coming to mind, but you have a good memory on this stuff.
I don't remember who it was, but it was like, I'm going to make him lock up. And it might have even been MJF Darby, that build for it, but it was
Sure.
oh God, I can't remember who it was, but I swear it was Cody against somebody, but it was, I'm going to make him lock up, and made him lock up, and he had a wrestling match, and it was like a good technical wrestling match, and not just the kicks, the drop kick, the hands in the pockets, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Darby and MJF definitely had that at Full Gear.
That match,
as the opener.
one of the best matches of the year, I think. Definitely.
And I think some people were critiquing Darby, like Darby doesn't have that in him, but then he showed, oh no, he can actually go.
And they both did, and they both looked great.
Yes.
That was one of my favorite matches in AEW so far. So I get it. What bothers me is all of the spot fests that happen at the end of tag matches. It's so annoying that all tag matches into AEW end with the same crescendo. They all end up everybody gets into the ring. It's this person does their move, the next person does their move to them, and at the end, everybody is down in the ring. The audience claps, then they get up, and then they find their finish. But it's always that same thing. I one time want somebody to block all of that and kill everybody and get the pin. I just want it blocked. I want it like, oh, this is the end, and then just nope. I'm gonna murder people, and then I'm gonna get the pin. 1, 2, 3. We win the match. So it's just the spot stuff is I don't mind so much. It's the predictability because of the spot stuff that I don't like, or when the spot stuff becomes about the spot and not about the story they're trying to sell. A big dude is down. You're a little dude wrestling them. You got to go for broke on this big dude. Darby going for the coffin drop on Miro, and Miro just catching him because he knew he was going to have to do it, and then it just didn't pay off for him. I love that, but if it's just spot after spot after spot after spot, I don't know. It's cool and it's spectacle, but I don't know that it tells us very much of a story all of the time, unless it's like I have to do this big thing because everything else I've tried isn't working. Otherwise, it's just you doing this big thing for no reason. I don't know. So I valid what he said.
Well said. I think what you're really speaking to, Brad, is that variety that we need.
Yeah.
I'll never forget when the late Brody Lee defeated Cody for the TNT belt, and it was just a total squash.
Yeah.
Like
Like
Brody destroyed him,
like a 4-minute
and it was
match
awesome.
or something. It was great.
Yeah, we didn't need a 15 to 20 minute classic. We just needed a few minutes of watching Brody just decimate Cody, and that match got over and thus put over Brody huge. And I don't think Cody lost anything. I mean, Cody obviously is a made man, and maybe we see him on tomorrow's Raw. Speaking of WWE, live from Jacksonville, one can hope. But yeah, what you're saying is something I'm totally down with. We do like variety, and as athletic and as impressive as these men and women are, particularly the men's tag division AEW, we can only see the same match so many times.
Right. And I don't know. I don't know if it matters. I don't know. I really don't.
I think it does. I mean, we're still going to be fans and enjoy it regardless, I think.
Yeah.
But in terms of growing the product and just putting out the best product possible, I think
We want change. Change is good.
Yeah.
Even if it's just taking a break from it and coming back to it.
Sure.
Like I don't need to always see somebody jump off something really high onto a table. When I went back and watched the Attitude Era, I got to a point where I was like, oh my God, they do this every night. Every night somebody goes through that announce table. The poor Spanish announce table took a beating in the Attitude Era.
always the Spanish.
It's always the Spanish announce table.
Always.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
Yeah, unless it's the end
Yeah,
of the show.
So true.
Unless it's the very end of the show, then it's like, oh no, we gotta save this because they need to announce all the way to the end. But it's Spanish announce table, and somebody always got knocked out at that table if somebody went through it. One of the announcers would always be down.
Yeah, I know we're gonna save our 2K talk for later, but you saying that makes me think of the requirements I had for all of my matches while playing SmackDown versus Raw back in the day. I had to put somebody through a table, Brad. If I was competing, my opponent was definitely going through the table. It could be a Spanish announce, it could be JR's table, but someone had to go through the table, man. It was a requirement.
Gonna be a while before I pick that game up, I think.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're definitely not having a full review
Yeah.
later in this episode, but I know we're gonna save that for later. Anyway, yeah, the Spanish announce table, man. Wow, it's It's funny how that's been kind of a rib over the years.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
A great rib.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Brad, speaking of things I enjoy, because it's not just breaking tables on wrestling video games, my favorite part of Gimmick Infringement, it's time. Brad, I'm going to lob it up to you. We are ready for someday when you have kids.
And now it's time for
I'm crazy.
Someday
Someday.
when you have kids.
You're crazy.
Tyler, today I was really struggling with this one. I wanted to find something new, and today we found something new. Today, I'm going to tell you about little people items. Someday when you have kids, you're going to have to find small stuff. And I don't mean things that are made for just short people. You and I are not, we are the undertall. I'm talking about for little kids. Jess and I are looking at redoing the backyard, where we're going to put in some pavers. We especially want to make a play area for Freya, because right now it's just rock. And she's fallen more than a couple of times and landed on rock. And it's not pea gravel. It is giant mountainous gravel it's huge. They're not even rock. They're boulders, and they're shaped like knives. And she keeps falling on them, and it's a bad time. But she wants to help. Tyler, do you know how hard it is to find a tiny rake? Or to find a tiny shovel? Someday when you have kids, you are going to have to go out of your way to find tools and equipment and things for little people. I had to special order, and I say special order knowing full well I just went on Amazon, little kid safety glasses. They make these for toddlers and the like, and they are impact resistant, and they're a little bit stretchy. Plastic safety glasses. She calls them her working glasses. She has over-the-ear protection. They're pink. They rule. I don't remember what she calls them other than her earmuffs or her headphones, her working headphones. Sure. But sometimes she likes to put them on in the house if Winnie's barking. She has really small gardening gloves.
Multi-use.
Yeah, and today...
Gardening gloves, okay.
And today,
nice, she's all set.
Today we went to Target, and we went to that little $5, $1 gimmick section at the beginning of the store, right, and picked her up a shovel. Someday when you have kids, you will take great joy in this. You will also find great irritation when it's, well, I want one. We have a little vacuum in the hallway. We have a little Dyson vacuum that's about a quarter of the size of a regular sized vacuum that Freya uses. Does it work? Not really. It just makes sound. But it's I was
going to say, Freya's helping with vacuuming duties.
She absolutely takes the vacuum up and helps, but it doesn't actually help. But she wants to be involved. So someday when you have kids, you will buy these little things. You will find these little things, and you will give them to your little people so they can feel like big people. It's a great joy. It's also a great sense of frustration when you can't find those things, because they want to be involved, even though they might not be the greatest help. They want to be with their parents and their people. So someday you will have to buy little people items to match what you're using someday when you have kids.
I love that, bro. Well done. We being the
someday. I just wanted to say it one more time.
Someday. We, the listeners and viewers of GI, we need updates on the backyard, man. I know we were speaking before our recording here about your hopes and desires for what that space could be. Please promise us we'll get photo updates. We'll post it to the GI socials. We need to make sure we get Freya as well with the pink earmuffs, with the working what does she call
working glasses?
Working glasses.
Yeah.
I'm just picturing the GI socials heading into summer. And I think we need this content from you.
She really likes doing this stuff, man. She's got a workbench. She's got a little craftsman workbench with tools and stuff.
She's your kid.
Yeah.
She is your daughter.
It's so funny because she's not afraid of the sander or the saws or anything because of what they do. She's afraid of them because they're loud. She doesn't want to be around loud stuff.
Sure.
But like spinning
that.
wheels of hand cutting death, fine. Does it make a lot of noise? Oh, I'm out. So yeah.
She is a Winchester.
Yeah, absolutely.
That was awesome, man. Yeah. As always, thank you for that moment. I really enjoyed it. So I have my final question for you, Brad. This was a tough one to come up with. I want to ask you something I haven't on air yet. I need your top 3 favorite entrances right now in AEW specifically, unless you're really in love with someone from WWE, which I don't think you are currently. These can be full-on entrances in terms of the whole spectacle, or simply entrance themes. This was sparked by our mutual love for Keith Lee's new I Am song, which was released earlier this month on iTunes or Apple Music, I think is what the gimmick's called. So top 3 favorites. Again, full entrances or simply themes.
Man.
I know you're a fan of many.
Yeah, this is going to be tough.
Yes, I'm excited. I saved the best for last. Can't wait for this.
Malachi's solo entrance.
Nice.
I really like the All Rise for the House of Black, or Kings of the Black Throne, excuse me. I really like that, but I'm going to go with Malachi's solo entrance.
I respect that. I'm trying to need some time.
I'm trying to think of the whole entrance as a package, music and presentation.
Okay, sure.
Keith Lee's music, but I'm not going to put it on my list because the entrance is the entrance. I love it, but it's not Darby. I'm going Darby next. The music, that like when that music hits, whoo boy! Like every time, it's a pop for me. Even if I know what's coming.
Ready to run through a brick wall, as you would say.
I love that.
Insert brick wall emoji.
Yes, I love like the Fallout-esque cartoon graphics.
Yes.
Like he looks like
that's relatively new.
Yes. He looks like the
that.
Nuka boy from Fallout, and then he just goes and rips half the face off for the skull paint. It's so good. And then
for pay-per-views, he has usually a cinematic entrance, typically with Sting, obviously.
Which I don't love, but I always pop for it. It just always feels random. But I love watching Darby come down, especially if he has a skateboard.
Yes.
So good. Yes. So I love the Darby entrance because the music is great. The presentation is great. Malachi Black's, I love it, even though it's long. That's the only criticism there. And then I think I'll surprise you with the last one, even though I know you know what's coming. Sean Spears is my favorite entrance.
Oh, okay.
I
should have seen that coming.
It's my favorite one in all of AEW. I think we've
is
seen
the hottest take.
I think we've seen it twice. Like that's it.
Yeah. Right.
That's
a hot take, man.
Good. It's great. The lights, him sitting in the chair, the whistling. It's so good. After that, I don't know. Like, pick something. Jade's is great. Jade's is great with live performances. Her entrance at the Revolution, good sweet Jesus, everybody in the house was quiet. And she came out as Jade.
I was hoping she would make your list.
She came out as Jade, not Jade Cargill. Mortal Kombat Jade, which was amazing. And that, man, honorable mention to Jade. It used to be Thunder Rosa, but I don't really like her entrance anymore. I'd like to see her get a different song. It's very aggressive, but it's not good aggressive. I don't know how else to describe it. There's a few.
You're not putting Penta Oscuro's entrance on there.
No,
the foam.
Get it all the way out of here.
Vampire.
Yeah, get that trash out of here. Let's see what else we got. I'm really. Wild Thing and Mox. CM Punk in general. I love Eddie. Eddie's music is great, and then when he's coming to the ring and he just like soldier marches down, comes into the ring and gets in somebody's face. I love that about him.
Yes,
that's the best.
And of course, the crowd is popping as well.
The fast walk to the ring from Eddie Kingston. Yes, with his music playing, DMX Castlevania in the background, him fast walking to the ring and then just getting in to punch somebody.
Does Danielson make your honorable mention list, or is his too plain?
It's not that it's too plain. It's just it's Danielson's. It's been that way forever. It's kind of like imagine if Savage was still alive, and you heard Pomp and Circumstance start playing, you'd pop huge. Is it good? Like it's just Savage. So for Danielson, I love it, but it's not like my favorite entrance, favorite music in the world. Cult of Personality, or if you're getting AFI, Like there's just so many different options in AEW. They're all relatively good. I like Ty Conti's. I like any of the Dark Order guys. I like Join Dark Order and then them coming out, doing the hand thing. I'm trying to think of else. Ruby Soho. Where's Ruby?
Of course.
By the way, where the hell is Ruby?
Dark mostly.
And then I'm trying to think of anybody else, and I got nothing. But there's just so many. There's so many. There's probably people that I don't know. It's just there's a lot of older AEW themes that are stuck on guys that are there once in a while that are they're just not good. They sound 8-bit, where everybody else is using unfiltered, clean live audio. They're using something they made on a Super Nintendo. So,
right.
Unless it's intentional, like FTRs, which I don't think people realize is an homage. So, yeah. Anyway.
But before we get to your question, I just want to throw out 2 names.
I want to hear yours. You can't get to mine without hearing yours.
I would go... Okay, well, I'll bring up these names as part of my response to you. Jade has got to be in the top 3 for me, man. Like, I've expressed my love for her and for her entrance on previous episodes, so I'll just say Jade. Yeah, of course, Punk, right? Mox has got to be on my top 3, though. So Jade, Mox... And I think 3, I'm surprised I didn't hear his name out of your mouth. I think 3 has to be the cold-hearted, handsome devil.
Oh, man, I forgot about
Hook.
Yeah.
It has, like, in terms of unique entrances. Yeah, again, Mox is kind of been doing Mox for a while.
I forgot about Hook.
It's got to be Hook,
yeah,
right?
Hook replaces Spears for me. Get out of here, Spears.
Oh, wow. So is Hook your number 1?
Yeah, Hook is my 1.
Wow.
Like,
okay.
I love Spears, but like, here's the problem with Spears. Even though it's probably the best entrance in AEW, we've only seen it twice. Like, Hooks is so good because it's simple. It's black and white.
Yeah.
Literal black and white.
Yes.
And I listened very closely to see if it was an edited song, and it is.
Yes.
But
Action
it was
Bronson.
Yes, Action Bronson in the background. The chairman's intent, which I can't believe didn't get taken by Sean Spears.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
I felt the same way.
All of that.
Hook turning his back to the opponent. It's just such a unique, simple, to borrow your term, presentation, but it's very effective.
Who do I take off my list to replace Spears, though? Darby, I guess. Malachi's is so unique.
You can't, I'm leaving off Malachi, but how can Malachi not be on my favorite list?
Yeah, we needed like a top 5, top 10, and then
we need a top 5. We need a top 5.
Yeah.
I want to end with, we got to give an honorable mention to Miro.
Oh, man.
Again, relatively simple, but I think you and I would agree, phenomenal entrance. The music, the presentation, everything.
When do we get him back? I feel like he's going to be the surprise return challenger for the title, because I guess he's ready to go. So maybe after this tag match, maybe if Hangman wins, I was
gonna say, for me, it depends on what program are you inserting him into.
I want to see him go for the big belt.
There you go. Has to.
Now I don't want MJF in there yet, because now I want to see him feud with Wardlow. I mean, he's gonna get his run, and it's probably gonna be one of the longest in company history. So
for sure.
I'm fine.
Yeah, he may not be the next. I don't know. He may not be the next world champ after all. That was my prediction.
He's so young.
Weeks ago.
Yeah.
But he's, like you said, he's clearly going to have his reign, but it may not be as soon as I predicted, at least.
Yeah, me either. Now that it's happened, I don't think it's going to be for a while, because there's just too much talent on the roster that is a little bit older that I think will also get a run. I want to see Miro with that belt. Right. I know he's already held gold in AEW, but man, do I want to see him win the big belt.
A great total package of a pro wrestler. Brad, I'm just glad that we could spend several minutes geeking out over entrances. I know you and I just are very passionate about this, so I am ready when you are for your third and final question this week.
Okay, this question is related to question 1. This is something that I've struggled with the AEW, and I love AEW. Predictability. So I absolutely love what they've done with the TNT and TBS titles. Those belts are important. Those belts are built. And there's an air of, maybe not so much with Jade, but there's an air of unpredictability about what's going to happen any week. Did you have any idea that Sammy was going to drop to Scorpio this week? It felt like another match, and there's a possibility there, but there was a possibility with Ethan Page. There's always that possibility with the TNT title that at any moment we could see the belt drop. I feel that way with Hangman right now, but that's a Hangman thing, not a belt thing. With the TNT belt, I feel like it's a belt thing, not a person that holds the belt thing. With the TBS title belt, I feel like it's a person thing right now who's building that belt. But they're going to have to really build somebody to take it. That's the most important belt right now in the company, I feel like. The TBS title, Jade Cargill's belt, is the most important belt in the company. She's undefeated. There's no clear contender. Hangman, it's always on that precipice, and it always felt like a transitional champion, even though he has arguably had the best title run in company history. All of these things being said, I want to go to Hangman, and I want to go to the match this week. Thunder Rosa, San Antonio, Steel Cage, Britt Baker, women's title match. Is Thunder winning the most predictable outcome since Hangman beating Kenny?
Yes. Next question. I'm kidding. Yes, absolutely.
For real though, like I just
No, it is. Yeah, we knew Hangman was going to be Kenny at Full Gear, and everyone and their mother knows Thunder Rosa is leaving San Antonio with the belt. There's literally no way that she loses. I would even argue, Brad. Hopefully, I'm not interrupting. Second part of your question.
No, there's no second part. That's it.
Okay, fair enough. I'll just add here that I would argue the case could be made. This match is even more predictable than Hangman and Kenny.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to go back to my November brain, but perhaps there was a very small part of me, maybe, that thought, well, there's a chance Hangman loses, but there is no chance Thunder Rosa's losing in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So yes, you're absolutely right.
So this, I guess, there is a second part here. It's
okay.
With this
Too predictable.
With this predictability. Is that a problem for AEW? I don't know that it is, but I don't think so. I like going into a match not knowing for sure.
Yeah.
I don't like going into a big match like that knowing absolutely for sure. Like when you saw Kofi lose to Brock, did you know it was going to be a squash, or did you at least think that it was going to be a match? You probably thought he's going to lose, but
yeah.
Because that's what WWE does.
You know, this is still a sore subject for me.
That's why I brought it up.
I was, well, and it's interesting because you can usually tell on the episodic product, you can usually tell based on how much time is allotted.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget, I grabbed tacos that night on my way home from work, that Friday night SmackDown. And I remember getting home and noticing that there was there was a specific amount of time left in the show, and it wasn't a lot. I think it was maybe 10 minutes, give or take. Brock enters, Kofi enters, so it's like, oh, shoot, this is not going to be a 20-minute classic. And then they also, I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you remember this, they also added the Cain Velasquez, who should probably be a whole nother topic an episode of Gimmick Infringement.
Oh, my gosh.
A lot has happened in his life. Cain debuted, and they had the whole, he stared down Brock. I forget if there was physicality that night. But my point is, I usually think about how much time is left. And I think that's what AEW's done well with putting...
You're right.
Do you remember when they put Hangman and Danielson at the beginning of the show instead of the end? You can tell that there's an air of unpredictability there. To answer your question, I definitely thought Kofi was losing. I did not think it was going to be a 10-second squash match.
I think that's the thing, and we'll wrap it up here. There's good unpredictability and bad unpredictability. For example, Becky beating Bianca in 23 seconds or whatever it was.
SummerSlam.
I'm still upset. And
you knew as a company you weren't going to deliver Sasha versus Bianca, but you promoted it up until that very... I digress. Continue, please.
Terrible business practices, but we don't listen to outside sources, pal. It's good to know that Vince isn't listening to this podcast, I guess. I doubt he'll read my article coming up. Yeah, man.
GimmickInfringementPod.com.
I just great promo.
2 articles up for each of us. Bachelor specific and family specific.
Also, all audio for the podcast is available there, as is the video link to the playlist.
In case you missed it, that's gimmickinfringementpod.com.
We've now turned into the NPR section
Yeah.
of the podcast. Okay,
Yes.
should make a graphic for that.
Yes.
We have,
but no, your point about unpredictability, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Unpredictability, I agree with you. Even though I was super pissed about Kofi losing, there is something to be said for you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Goldberg beat Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series, total squash match.
Yeah.
No one saw that coming.
Right.
Even Brock versus Roman at WrestleMania. I don't know about you, Brad, but there does feel... to me, it feels like there is some major unpredictability about that. One would presume Brock is winning. Babyface Brock is leaving as champion, as unified champion. But also, did you really build Roman up for a year and a half to lose to a dude who has been made for 20 years? There is excitement to that. I'm excited to find out who is going to lead that match.
I am
because
too.
I have no clue. No clue.
there's
something to be said for
it'll
that.
be Roman. I don't even.
I sure hope so.
I don't even question it. Like Brock has already won 2 championships this year because he dropped it and then won it back again. So I understand, man. I understand.
Brad, may I bring to you the example of Goldberg beating the Fiend?
Okay, let's not
for the
I don't
Universal
wanna talk about
Championship in Saudi Arabia. Can I just remind you of that example?
Hold on. Here's it's a great example.
Thank you.
Or
There's
a
validity to my
disqualification in a Hell in a Cell match.
Yes.
God damn it! I lost my train of thought. Thank you.
You were ready to transition. You were really going to hold us to this 90-minute episode.
I tried transitioning out a while
that.
ago. Yes, you
squashed
squashed
that,
it
yes.
worse than Goldberg against Brock.
we
There's
are.
this. Okay, the match.
Yeah.
All of the things you said are true. I just don't want to see Roman and Brock again. They're not
Agreed.
putting out classic after classic. It's just a match.
Agreed.
It's cool to see big sirloin sons of bitches matches, but I don't need to see it for the 10th time. I just don't. Like,
Agreed.
build somebody
and
new.
as the signature Mania main event, nonetheless.
That's just it. And I understand. And I think the match is going to rule. I think the unification is going to rule. But do we need to see this again? They just wrestled like 4 other times. I don't need this. This could have been Big E and Roman. This could have been at this point, it could have been Rick Boogs and Roman. Like somebody else.
And maybe this is transitioning us into what did we miss from the week / WWE.
Which I tried to get to 5 minutes ago, yes.
Which you tried to get to, yes. I was just going to say that, you think back to day one, and if Roman had not tested positive, would this even be our Mania match?
Yeah.
Maybe the case could be made, but also maybe that happens at day one, and Mania Night 2 main event looks very different. I don't know. I just wanted to bring that up. It's just interesting how that day one change. Brock wins the Fatal 5-Way, beats Big E. It's
pins him clean.
Which is a huge issue.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna instead of going on a tangent, man, I want to kind of steer us to Big E, a favorite of ours. That spot he took on SmackDown, the suplex from Ridge Holland. Rough. I saw the clip on Twitter, so I didn't see it live, but I did see the follow-up tweets from Big E. Like you, Brad, I am so glad that it wasn't as bad as we had feared.
Yeah.
It seems like it's not career-ending.
Hopefully.
Or life-ending, for that matter. So
for those people that haven't seen it, Big E landed on his head and fractured a few of his vertebrae and in his neck. And like you, it's when you watch it, it's bad. We've seen a couple of those kinds of bumps in the WWE before, and they've all resulted in broken necks. All of them, every one of them. I don't know what happened. He under rotated on a belly to belly, and I don't know if it's because Ridge grabbed him too high, or if there just wasn't enough thrust on it. I really don't know. He's a big dude to be doing a belly to belly to on the outside.
Those are two speaking of sirloin matches, those are two sirloin beef individuals.
I just also, especially for the WWE, I don't know why I'm taking this as a moment to bash Ridge Holland here. What is that gimmick? I don't understand that gimmick.
It's not
a gimmick.
It's not good.
It's not a gimmick. It's nothing. It's a nothing.
And then yeah,
It's a I hurt Johnny Gargano and now I'm hurting Big E gimmick.
Right. Well, and then Brad, to amplify that, this is where we get out our WWE frustration.
Mad.
Then you debut, quote unquote, a new addition to this Sheamus and Ridge team, if you will. You bring in, again, I did not see this live. I saw this via Twitter.
The best way to
you
see
bring
it.
in Pete. You bring in Pete Dunne,
the bruiserweight,
which on paper could rule.
Yeah.
New Day versus Sheamus, Ridge Holland, and Pete Dunne. Like, yes, that checks a lot of boxes.
Sign me the bleep up.
Amen. But you bring in Pete Dunne, and again, he's already appeared on your programming before. He's been on Raw before. He's worked some dark matches. He's been all over NXT. He is a commodity. You re-debut him as Butch. Your face right now is amazing. All caps. How? Why? Brad, it feels like a bad comedy, man, or like just a ridiculous idea someone floats in a staff meeting, everyone laughs, and then you move completely away from that idea. You move 100 yards from it. Pete Dunne, we say this about a lot of people, is legitimately one of the best wrestlers in the world. Certainly technical wrestlers, but one of the best wrestlers, period. You and I are a huge fan of the Bruiserweight.
Yeah.
This guy is money. Why we are not immediately getting Ricochet versus Pete Dunne intercontinental match at WrestleMania, give them 15 minutes and watch them have the match of the weekend.
Yeah.
Why we're not getting that, and instead we're getting Butch, a character from the Little Rascals? Why?
I wanted to let you finish
How?
there. Listen, man.
I want to turn it to you. I'm not going to add anything of value here. I'm upset.
Neither
I'm
are they.
disappointed,
They're naming
and
their characters
I
Butch. They're naming their characters Butch. Butch.
I don't see the point in it.
Butch is an adjective.
Explain this to me.
Why are they doing this? Jess has an Uncle Butch. I don't believe that to be his legal name. It could be. I don't know. But Butch is Butch. Like, there's only one Butch, and it's Butcher. Okay? That's the only Butch. Amen. We named, and it's just, the thing that gets me is that it's just Butch. Maybe they were afraid that there's some Butch Strabnowski that's also a Nazi U-boat commander, and they were afraid they were going to do that again. And they just went, F it, just Butch. We'll make it an acronym, pal. I don't understand what's happening here. And what pisses me off is, I understand Conrad's doing this thing being defensive. Conrad Thompson on Twitter. And he's saying he's not. He's just simply asking a question because we know the name sucks. And he put out on Twitter, well, what would you name him? What's a better name? And everybody was like, just Pete Dunne.
Yes.
Why do you have to make it up? Like, he already has a name. It's
why does he need
name.
a new? Why does he need a new name?
It sounds like it's because Pete Dunne is not owned by WWE, and they wanted an intellectual property that they could own.
Right.
Name him Pete. If you're gonna go Butch, name him like Butch Bruiser and honor the Bruiserweight or something, or Butch Dunne. It's not hard.
Yeah.
Instead, we just get Butch.
You're so right about the naming. I mean, that has to be what it is, right?
Yeah, and that's
wanting to own the name and the likeness, the character,
and that's fine. But that name is ass. And I know that they named him to think of some kind of British name. Butch. He looks like a Butch. Let's name him Butch. Like that's exactly what happened there. You look like a Butch,
right? With the fedora and just.
Did he shave his hair? Is it gone? I didn't see a pony.
I don't know.
I think they made him shave.
I'm gonna look this up.
They Adam Coled him. They made him what Adam Cole was supposed to be, a manager with a shaved head. Unbelievable, man. Like, yes, my favorite thing that Pete Dunne does is the finger spot, grabbing the hands and just like snapping the fingers. I love that so much. Everything he does looks great. Damn it. I just Butch.
Yeah. His head isn't shaven. He's still doing it. It's cleaned on the sides for sure, but he still has the ponytail.
Okay, good. At least they didn't ruin him entirely.
No, and that trio could really work. I'm not down on the trio itself.
It's the name. No, I'm fine with him being on the main roster.
Name.
What do you think he wrestles in? No way they let him do the unitard.
I love the unitard.
So do I. It's Taz-esque.
Yes, and especially the white.
Yep.
Like pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah.
I forget where he wore the white. It may have been In Your House or
Was
a
it
2.0 special.
Was it here? Was it UK?
Here.
Okay.
It was here. Yeah. Yeah, and the dude's running UK. I mean, just champ for like 18 plus months. Just phenomenal. What is he wrestling?
Pete Dunne and Walter, and now they're Gunther and Butch.
Yeah.
Just
You-
what?
You
They sound like Looney Tunes characters from the 40s.
You completely nailed
Gunther
it.
and Butch.
According to what I see on Google, you probably already saw this on SmackDown. He showed up in a tank top looking deal, what used to be known as a wife beater.
Yes.
He's wearing
shirt.
that, and then
Yeah.
yes, thank you, and then some cargo-esque looking pants and wrestling boots. I would presume that's what he's going to wear, but I hate it, and I hope I'm wrong.
I agree. I just want to see him work. Like, I'm trying to get past this thing where I'm like, the name sucks, and that promo sucked. I just want to see you guys wrestle. I think I'm going to have to start watching the shows on mute, and maybe I'll enjoy it better. I truly believe that. Like,
Yeah, you're not being happy about it.
if there's a promo, cool. I'll just leave. I'll go get a beer. I'll do something, which I'm having immediately after this, by the way. Spring Break City. I am crushing some beers tonight. I'm using this as a transition into the next topic. I hope you know this, because we are going to be seeing some absolute piss and vinegar from the man, the myth, the Steve Weiser holding legend. Stone Cold Steve Austin is going to be at WrestleMania. Probably not just in a segment, probably in a match, but maybe in a segment. Maybe he doesn't do a match, but maybe he just comes in there to fight Kevin Owens and there's no bells or anything. He said it one last time, so this has to be it. He's going to end it this way. I truly hate it. Truly hate it. This is my take on this. I can't wait to see him. I think it's going to rule. I don't want it to be a match. It can't be a match. You cannot end it with the biggest WrestleMania, headlining against heel Rock, lose to The Rock, get a standing ovation on your way out. That's the way you go out, man. Like, that's incredible. That should be how you finish your career. You lost as MVP of the Super Bowl. What are you going to do? Because you've already won Super Bowls. You built a company. You're going to wrestle Kevin Owens in your 50s? And that's going to be your last match? You saw what happened to Undertaker. If this is a match and it doesn't go the way that he wants it to go, he'll be back for more. Because that's what Undertaker did. Because they had that fiasco of a match with Goldberg where they both almost died in that match. So
right. Or even Shawn Michaels, who we haven't seen in the ring, but he came back for that Blood Money show. Shawn Michaels and Triple H
tore his pec
DX versus,
right away.
Yes, versus the Brothers of Destruction.
And Kane's mask came off and his hair.
Yes, that was universally seen as a disaster. Again, pretty much everything on these Saudi shows ends up disastrous, but yet we're still doing them. But yeah, man, like Shawn, you know, that people have been pining for him to return for years. Mm-hmm. He shows up to this Blood Money show, and of course it didn't tarnish his legacy by any means, but
it wasn't good.
It's just seen as,
sad.
Yeah, no one thinks about that as Shawn Michaels' last match. They think of Hell in a Cell versus The Undertaker. But like you said, 19 years removed for Stone Cold, and he left because he was banged up. Yeah. So him as a 50-something-year-old fighting Kevin Owens in a match, probably not going to be as enjoyable as a KO show segment in which he stuns Owens and drinks beers.
I think it'll still be great because we know that Steve Austin is a really good in-ring worker. So to have him go in there and have a technical match with Kevin Owens might actually be amazing. But it's Kevin Owens. At some point, he's jumping off something big. Yeah. Like, he just is. And if Stone Cold doesn't roll out of the way, we're going to assume he's going to die. Stone Cold is not young. Stone Cold might be more jacked now than he was in his career, though. Like, his arms are just veins popping out. And he was not like that, but he was not taking care of himself like he is now. So I'm hopeful.
It's a different time. I'm
hopeful. And if he's agreeing to this, it must mean that his neck is okay to go, or he can do certain things. But man, I don't want to see it be a sad match that tarnishes in his mind how he ended his career, because this will be the end of the career. right here will be the end of the career.
Yes.
And that's the thing that bothers me, even though I think a stunner versus stunner match isn't being played up nearly enough. I guess the point here is not the match, not the build, not any of that. It's been a great build. I love this. I can't wait for WrestleMania because of this. Why? Because of like 3 minutes, a little under, actually about 2 minutes. Stone Cold Steve Austin dusted himself off, blew off the promo mic, literally dusted himself off because he was driving in the desert on his ranch in Nevada, Broken Skull Ranch, came out and cut a promo that might be promo of the year. That video production of just all of the nostalgic stuff. He said all of the things. We got can of whoop ass. We didn't get Austin 316, but we did get because Stone Cold said so. He called him mealy mouth, which popped me because that's such an old school thing for him to do. You've been running your mealy mouth, and I was like, oh, that's so good.
Yeah, yes.
It was so good. But it was like, he actually looks really heated. He looked genuinely pissed. I would be scared if I was Kevin Owens. Like, I'm suddenly going, I don't know. I think he worked himself into a shoot, and he's actually going to show up and beat my ass. And he might. And I don't know if Kevin Owens is ready for the potatoes, because Stone Cold was not throwing light punches when he was working. Like he works snug.
Yeah, he has a great punch. All that I will add here is, like you, this immediately pole vaults into one of the segments, quote unquote, that I'm most looking forward to on WrestleMania. I mean, immediately it's top 3, unquestionably,
yes,
and probably not number 3. I will say I just get a little worried because I don't know that I will love this.
Right.
If we get all of the wrestlers from Texas coming out, and I heard this idea online. This is not an original
It
thought,
makes total sense.
It resonated with me. I just worry that this is going to be Kevin Owens v. the state of Texas. And we get Booker T, we get The Undertaker. I don't know that I want that.
I don't think Booker comes out. I think Kevin Owens will start getting his ass kicked by Stone Cold, but Seth currently has nothing to do on Mania, right?
Currently, no.
So I can absolutely see Seth being in this, coming to help out his buddy Seth or Kevin Owens, helping to beat up Stone Cold. The lights go out, the gong hits.
Yeah. Okay, that wouldn't be terrible.
That would be fine. I would like all of that. You get the two legends in the ring at the same time. They crack beers together.
Yes. I'm picturing a Seth's cell of the Stunner.
Oh my God.
It would be tremendous.
I want to see Kevin Owens get tombstone. I want to see Undertaker get Kevin Owens up. Like, I don't even... retired Mark Calloway picking up Kevin Owens.
At least we have something to look forward to.
Yeah, I think that'll be okay. I would rather see Booker T come out, to be honest with you, because I know that dude is in incredible shape. And you know he'll be ready to go. Like, he could probably work a 20-minute match if he wanted to right now.
For sure.
Where I'm not... Mark Calloway, The Undertaker, is pretty... I mean, his body went through it over his career because he wrestled for 800 years. Stone Cold hasn't wrestled in 19. His body is rested, which makes me think, oh, this is a good, fast way to get hurt. Which is why I'm scared. I'm just scared that it's going to be disappointing, or it's going to result in an injury for somebody. I don't think any of that stuff will happen. I'm trying to temper my expectations because I'm so excited for this.
Sure.
That I don't want to go in there and have it be a letdown. Like, I was so pumped for Becky and Sasha, or Bianca and Sasha. Yeah. And then we got Becky squashing Bianca.
Yeah. And I'm hopeful for that. Is something I'm looking forward to on the Mania card. This Bianca versus Becky rematch.
Agreed.
But like you said, absolutely. But like you said, the way it went down at SummerSlam should not have happened. Yeah. It's not just that Bianca lost. It's the way she lost.
Yeah,
You don't squash.
Build that for that long.
A superstar babyface like that on their first
match of the year. Their first ESPN title match of the year, moment of the year, whatever.
Yeah, you just don't do that. But Brad, I know you and I have spoken about the ideas we have as we get closer to WrestleMania. I think we're gonna have a lot of exciting business ahead for GI
can't wait.
As we approach the most stupendous event of the year, as they're tagging it. It's as much as we gripe about the current WWE product, you and I, much like we did for the Royal Rumble, you and I have a lot of genuine excitement, I think, for WrestleMania, and are going to hopefully deliver some really creative, fun content for our listeners and viewers in the weeks to come.
I agree, man. I'm really excited. The last thing we'll say here before we close out is that our wishes and our thoughts, our best wishes and thoughts are with Scott Hall right now, who is on life support as we speak. It is 5:25 Arizona time, so hopefully that hasn't changed since then. But Scott Hall had hip surgery and suffered 3 successive heart attacks due to complications, and is currently on life support. So we're all rooting for the bad guy to pull through here.
Well said. Yeah, absolutely, Brad. I don't want to add anything to that, man. You're spot on. He's
dude. Why do we keep doing this shit?
Why do we end?
Last time it was the Ukraine. Now it's
Why do we end on
Scott
What are your
Hall?
thoughts on the Ukraine situation?
I'm trying to think.
No,
Jessie the Buckeye recently got that thing removed from her abdomen. Go, Jessie. We're all here for Jessie. Great job, Jessie.
Yes.
Things are looking up. That rules.
Yes. And Brad, we hear that.
Although go blue.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. And go U of A. We hear that WWE 2K apparently rules. Again, final note, you and I do not plan on purchasing that imminently because $60 is a lot of money these days, especially for a video game when you and I have other pressing financial needs. But apparently from what I read from IGN, from the IWC, apparently this game is a vast improvement, and I would bet that you and I will get our hands on it at some point and share more detailed thoughts at a later time. But that game dropped, and apparently the wait was for naught. It's apparently super good, man.
Yeah,
I can't wait till you and I play it and hopefully just recognize that this was worth $20 or $30, because no way are we spending $60, especially after the last one was not awesome.
I'm gonna wait for
that's a bright side, man. Apparently it's really good.
I'm gonna wait for it to come down in price. Plus, I'm going to wait for it to come down in price for the gold edition, so I can get all that DLC and not have to pay.
Yes,
because $100 for all of that stuff. It's
a lot.
I don't even have a disc drive on mine. Mine's all digital, so I have to wait for sales. Or gift cards or something,
Absolutely.
If you start throwing me Xbox gift cards, fine, I'll do that. But until then, no, thank you.
Well said. Brad, this was a blast, man. Another episode of Gimmick Infringement in the books. As a reminder, you can follow Brad and I on Twitter. Brad is at Winduster. I am at Tyler J. McDowell. The team of 19 Media Group can be found at 19mediagroup.com or at 19M Group on Twitter. We hope you all enjoyed this episode. Again, we have a lot of fun stuff in the works for you, not only with the podcast itself, but with the website, and a few surprises here in the coming weeks and coming months. So we thank you so much for riding with us, for supporting us. Please don't forget the reviews, the views, the likes. All of that makes a difference for the algorithms, and your support just means a ton to Brad and I. So thank you. We hope you enjoyed this one, and we look forward to seeing you next weekend. Gimmick Infringement is a part of 19 Media Group. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you find podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube via the 19 Media Group channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share.